There is a demon that lives within you. Not the childish, cartoon version with red skin and horns, but something darker, something far more human, something you already know too well. It is the anger you keep feeding, the rage boiling quietly in your stomach whenever someone disrespects you. It's the burning fire in your chest when life refuses to bend your way. It is the part of you that erupts, that destroys relationships, that weakens you, and yet you continue feeding it. But imagine this. What if I told you there was a way to kill it, to bury it, to walk straight through fire with calm eyes while the rest of the world screams around you? Miyamoto Musashi, arguably the most dangerous man to ever walk the lands of Japan, did exactly that. He wasn't just a swordsman. He was a war machine, cloaked in silence. He fought in more than 60 duels of life and death, and not once did he lose. Not because he was the strongest, not because he was the fastest, but because he was emotionless when he entered battle. This is no fairy tale. This is the account of how one man conquered his anger and carved himself into legend. And today, you will learn his way. First, anger is nothing more than a puppet string, and you are the toy. Let's face it with brutal honesty. Anger doesn't give you true power. It makes you owned. Every time you lash out, every time you explode, every time someone presses the right buttons and you react, you're exposing your cards. You are telling the world precisely how to control you. Musashi understood this truth very early. He saw that anger was never strength. It was a chain, a leash, a predictable weakness that made men simple to manipulate. Marcus Aurelius once said, "When you are disturbed by external things, it is not they that trouble you, but your own judgment of them." Read that again carefully. If someone has the power to make you angry, then they also have the power to make you do anything. That means you are not in control, you're just a puppet, and your emotions are the strings. Musashi cut those strings. He trained himself to be immune to provocation, to step into combat with the stillness of a monk. No matter the insult hurled at him, no matter the brutality of the fight, he remained watchful, quiet, and cold. Not because he lacked emotions, but because he refused to let those emotions rule over him. Real strength is not about how hard you can strike, it is about how impossible you are to provoke. That was what made Musashi terrifying. Not his blade, not his size, not even his speed, but his unpredictability, his void. A man without emotional triggers is a man who cannot be manipulated, cannot be threatened, and cannot be broken. That is real power. Second, the day Musashi killed anger. There's a story, one not many know. When Musashi was still very young, barely past his teenage years, he challenged one of the finest swordsmen in all of Japan, Arima Kihei. Kihei was skilled, refined, and confident. He expected a formal duel with steel swords. Musashi, however, arrived with nothing more than a wooden stick. Arima mocked him, laughed at him, taunted him. Any ordinary man would have cracked under that pressure, would have reacted emotionally, would have fought recklessly. But Musashi only watched. He stood silent, calm, calculating. And then, in an instant, he struck. Swift, brutal, cold. He killed his opponent without rage, without screams, without theatrics. Just execution, efficient and merciless. Musashi didn't fight with emotion. He fought with awareness. He fought with a presence that mirrored death itself. Anger was never his weapon. Control was. Third, the psychology of the blade. Musashi wasn't simply a man who swung swords. He was a man who studied the mind. He mastered his anger and he wrote, "Do nothing which is of no use." Anger, more often than not, is useless. Unless controlled and harnessed, it weakens you. You may believe it helps you win arguments, but in truth, it only exposes your weakness. You may believe it helps in conflict, but really, it makes your enemies smile, because they already know. They have you. The mind is like a blade. When you let emotion rust it, it becomes dull. But when you sharpen it with silence, stillness, and control, it cuts through anything. Fourth, why you get angry and why you will keep losing. Let's bring this closer to home. Why do you become angry? Someone insults you. Life feels unfair. Someone cuts you off in traffic. The harsh truth is this: you get angry because you believe you are entitled to control things that were never yours to control. You think the world owes you respect. You think other people should act exactly as you want them to. You think life should be fair. Musashi would tell you, you are attached. And attachment is the root of your suffering. Musashi trained himself to expect absolutely nothing from the world. He walked alone, he slept in the dirt. He trained not only his body but his soul, so it could not be touched. No comforts, no luxuries, no illusions of control, and because of this, no one could ever provoke him. Fifth, training the void, Musashi's practice of emptiness. You cannot defeat anger by screaming into a pillow or by doing 100 push-ups. You defeat it by forging your mind into a blade. This was Musashi's method, voluntary hardship. He slept outdoors, ate sparingly, and rejected fame and fortune. He believed comfort made the mind weak, and a weak mind is easily provoked. Try this yourself. Pick one comfort in your life and cut it away. Cold showers, no sugar, no social media. Whatever discomfort makes you squirm, embrace it, destroy it, get addicted to being uncomfortable. Soon you will see much of your anger was simply entitlement in disguise. Silence was Musashi's ultimate weapon. He would go hours, days, even while training, without speaking. He trained himself to observe without reaction. The next time someone insults you, pause. Say nothing. Do not defend. Do not explain. Just watch. The balance of power shifts immediately. You will feel it. Meditate on death. Every morning Musashi reflected upon his own death. Why? Because a man who does not fear dying cannot be shaken by anything smaller. He wrote, "Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world." When you live beside death in your mind, anger dissolves. Because what is a rude comment or a traffic jam when compared to the void? Sixth, kill the ego. Kill the fire. At its core, anger is the ego wearing a mask. You are not truly angry because the world is cruel. You are angry because your image has been attacked. Your pride has been bruised. Someone has dared to challenge your worth. You feel unseen, dismissed, or disrespected. But Musashi understood what most men do not. Ego is weakness pretending to be strength. The more you feed it, the more fragile you become. His solution? Kill the ego. Burn it down. Starve it. Leave nothing but ashes. Musashi did not care for approval. He didn't care if his name echoed in history. He wore no fancy clothes. He did not seek validation. He did not perform for the crowd. Because he knew the truth. The more you crave recognition, the easier it becomes to control you. The more your identity depends on how others see you, the more power they hold to break you. Musashi walked through the world like a shadow, detached, silent, untouchable. He lived as a ghost because he realized this. A man with nothing to prove is a man who cannot be provoked. When you destroy your ego, insults become mere noise. Criticism becomes useful information. Rejection loses its sting. Anger dies because there's nothing left to defend. If you want to be untouchable, do not build thicker armor. Burn the ego that demands protection. The warrior with no pride left to wound is the one you should fear the most. Seventh, the final duel. Musashi versus Sasaki Kojiro. Let's end with the battle that sealed his legend. Sasaki Kojiro was a master swordsman, a celebrity, fast, elegant, deadly. Their duel is still remembered as one of history's most iconic. Musashi arrived hours late, not because of laziness, but because he wanted Kojiro furious, unbalanced, boiling with rage. And it worked. Kojiro was seething. Musashi stepped off his boat calm as a stone, holding only a wooden sword he had carved from an oar. Kojiro lunged with fury. Musashi, still cold, still calculated, struck once, one blow. Kojiro fell dead. That is what anger gives you. Death. Eighth, Musashi's way, the modern code. This is not about pretending to be a samurai. It is about embracing their essence, emptiness, detachment, precision, silence. If you wish to conquer anger, stop reacting and start watching. Stop expecting and start detaching. Stop screaming and start sharpening. Remember this, the quieter you become, the more dangerous you are. Musashi said, "The way of the warrior is resolute acceptance of death." And here's the truth. When you no longer fear discomfort, when you stop needing others to act the way you wish, when you stare directly at death and laugh, anger cannot live in you. All that remains is stillness. And within that stillness, there is power. What are your views on this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I will personally read all of your comments. And if you seriously want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Stay strong. Until next time.